The first knock came on a Thursday afternoon, light and hesitant, the kind that might be mistaken for the wind brushing against the door. Aisha paused mid-step in her narrow living room, her hand still wrapped around a mug of tea that had long gone cold. She wasn't expecting anyone. No one ever came unannounced anymore. The knock came again, soft, unsure, but undeniably human. Her chest tightened. For a moment, she considered pretending she hadn't heard it. Life had taught her that unexpected visits often carried unexpected pain. She took a breath, steadying herself, and walked toward the door. Each step felt heavier than the last. When she opened it, she found a young courier standing there, helmet tucked under his arm, eyes scanning a clipboard. "Delivery for Aisha Rahman," he said politely. "That's me." He handed her a small, plain envelope. No return address. Just her name, written carefully in familiar handwriting. Her fingers trembled as she took it. "Have a good day," the courier said, already turning away. She closed the door slowly, leaning her forehead against it for a brief second before walking back to the sofa. She stared at the envelope as though it might explode. She knew that handwriting. She had tried for years to forget it. Her brother's. Inside was a single sheet of paper, folded once. She unfolded it with care, as if the paper itself were fragile. "Aisha. I don't know if you'll read this. I don't know if you should. I just know that I owe you words I never gave you. I'm sorry, for what I did, for what I didn't do, and for the years I let pass in silence. I'm not asking for anything. I only wanted you to know that I regret every day I hurt you. Omar." Her breath caught. The room felt suddenly smaller, the air thicker. 10 years had passed since she had last seen his face, heard his voice. 10 years since a single decision had shattered their family and left her picking up pieces alone. She folded the letter back and slipped it into the envelope, placing it on the table as though distance might dull its weight. Forgiveness was a word people liked to use lightly, she thought. They spoke of it as a door you simply chose to open. But they didn't talk about the fear of what might walk through. That night, sleep did not come easily. Memories returned uninvited, Omar promising to be there, Omar failing to show up, Omar choosing pride over responsibility. The betrayal had not been loud or dramatic, it had been quiet, persistent, and devastating. By morning, the letter still sat where she had left it. Days passed. The letter remained unopened again, though she already knew every word by heart. She told herself that ignoring it was a form of strength, that protecting old wounds from reopening was self-care. But somewhere beneath that reasoning lived a softer truth: she was afraid. Afraid that forgiveness might mean minimizing her pain. Afraid it might mean letting him back into her life. The second knock came a week later. This one was firmer. Certain. She froze in the kitchen, dish towel in hand, heart racing. She knew, somehow, before she reached the door. When she opened it, Omar stood there. He looked older than she remembered. Thinner. The confidence he once carried so easily was gone, replaced by something quieter, more fragile. His eyes met hers, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. "I'm sorry," he said finally. His voice cracked on the words. She wanted to slam the door. She wanted to scream. Instead, she stood aside. "5 minutes," she said flatly. He nodded, stepping inside like a guest afraid of overstaying his welcome. They sat across from each other in the living room, a small table between them like a barrier. The silence was heavy, but not empty. It was filled with everything they had never said. "I didn't come to excuse myself," Omar began. "I know nothing I say can change what happened. I couldn't live with myself anymore without telling you how deeply sorry I am." Aisha clenched her hands together. "Do you know what it cost me?" she asked quietly. "Do you know how many nights I waited for you to do the right thing? How many times I defended you when everyone else walked away. He lowered his head. I do now. I didn't then. And that's something I'll regret for the rest of my life. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Regret doesn't fix what you broke. I know, he said. But I'm trying to become someone who wouldn't do it again. They talked for hours. About mistakes. About pride. About the long road back from becoming someone you no longer recognize. Omar didn't ask for forgiveness. He didn't even ask to stay in touch. When he left, he stood by the door and said, "If you never want to see me again, I'll understand." After he was gone, Aisha sat alone, the quiet louder than before. Forgiveness still felt impossible. But something had shifted. The anger that once felt sharp and protective now felt tired. Weeks passed. Then months. Aisha found herself thinking of Omar at unexpected moments, while buying groceries, while walking home at dusk. She noticed that the bitterness she carried had begun to weigh on her more than the memory of his betrayal. Holding on to the pain had become its own kind of prison. One evening, she picked up her phone and typed a single message. "I'm not ready to forgive you. But I'm willing to try talking again." His reply came almost immediately. "Thank you. That's more than I deserve." They began slowly. Short conversations. Careful boundaries. Omar showed up when he said he would. He listened more than he spoke. He took responsibility without defending himself. Forgiveness did not arrive all at once. It came in pieces, in moments of shared laughter, in quiet understanding, in the realization that healing didn't erase the past but allowed it to rest. One afternoon, nearly a year after the second knock, Aisha invited Omar for tea. As she poured the cups, she realized something surprising. Her heart no longer raced when he was near. "I forgive you," she said suddenly, the words leaving her mouth before fear could stop them. Omar's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," he whispered. She shook her head gently. "I didn't forgive you for you. I forgave you for me. Because carrying that pain was costing me more than it was costing you." Forgiveness had knocked twice in her life. The first time, she wasn't ready to answer. The second time, she opened the door, not because the past had changed, but because she had. And in that choice, she found something unexpected, peace, not perfect or complete, but real.